So let's talk about something that has been sparking a lot of buzz recently. If you've been hanging around crypto spaces, you've probably heard the name Pi Network floating around. Now, at first glance, you might think it's just another coin in a sea of endless digital currencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, or the latest meme token. But Pi Network is different. It's not just trying to be another coin, it's attempting to change the way ordinary people interact with cryptocurrency. Back in 2019, a team of Stanford graduates launched a project with a simple but ambitious mission: make crypto accessible to everyone. Their vision was to create a digital currency that you could mine directly on your smartphone. No expensive hardware setups. No massive electricity bills. And no need for technical expertise. All it took was downloading the app and tapping a button once a day. That concept instantly set Pi apart because it tackled one of the biggest barriers in crypto: accessibility. Instead of needing racks of specialized machines like Bitcoin miners do, Pi Network promised a lightweight, eco-friendly way for anyone with a phone to join in. Millions of people around the world jumped in and started accumulating Pi coins, which they store in digital wallets. The community grew fast, and those users proudly call themselves pioneers. For years, they'd been mining away, waiting for that moment when Pi would open to the wider world. And here's where things get interesting, because recently, the project made a move that turned a lot of heads. The announcement was that Pi Network is officially a gold sponsor for Token 2025, which, if you don't know, is one of the biggest and most prestigious events in the entire crypto industry. Imagine the Super Bowl, but for blockchain and digital currencies. That's the level we're talking about. Token 2025 is where the most influential players in crypto gather: founders, investors, developers, media outlets, analysts, you name it. Having your brand attached to that kind of stage is no small thing. Now, why is this important? Because up until this point, Pi Network has kept most of its operations fairly private. Some would even say secretive. And while that's been a strategy of theirs, it's also left room for skepticism. People have often asked, is this real? Is it just a hype machine? But stepping onto the Token 2025 stage is like Pi Network raising its hand and saying, yes, we're here, and we're serious. It's the equivalent of a garage band suddenly getting booked to headline a major music festival. It's bold, it's public, and it's meant to send a clear message. Of course, you might be thinking, isn't this just marketing? Isn't it just their logo on some banners? Not quite. In the world of crypto, sponsorships aren't only about visibility. They're also about credibility. Thousands of projects exist in this space, and sadly, many don't survive. Some run out of funds, some are mismanaged, and some turn out to be outright scams. So when a project invests heavily to sponsor a high-profile event, it signals strength. It says they have the financial resources and the long-term vision to stake their claim in the industry. Think about how big players like Binance or Crypto.com sponsor sports events, stadiums, or even Formula One teams. It builds trust. It tells the world they're not just playing around. And that's exactly what Pi Network is signaling here. Becoming a gold sponsor at Token 2025 isn't cheap. It's a high-level sponsorship tier that typically costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. But it comes with huge benefits: top-tier branding at the event, speaking opportunities, panel participation, workshops, and access to everyone who matters in the space. For Pi, this could change everything. First, it transforms how the mainstream crypto world views them. They're no longer just that mobile mining app with millions of curious users. They're now positioning themselves as a major player with resources, ambition, and a plan. That shift in perception alone can open doors. And those doors lead to some pretty big opportunities. Venture capital firms, institutional investors, and even major blockchain companies are all going to be watching closely. Pi Network already has an enormous user base, over 55 million people worldwide. That's a number that no serious investor can ignore. If Pi can present a convincing case about its technology and future roadmap at Token 2025, it could attract partnerships, funding, and collaborations that help accelerate its public launch. Another angle here is the potential for exchange listings. Right now, PiCoin doesn't have an official price because it isn't traded on public markets yet. Any price you see floating around online is based on speculation, IOUs, or unofficial trades, which aren't reliable. The real price discovery will only happen when Pi goes fully open and gets listed on major exchanges. Sponsoring Token 2025 puts the Pi team in direct contact with the very decision-makers at platforms like Binance, Coinbase, and others who can make that listing happen. Imagine the buzz if an announcement drops during or after the event that Pi will be supported by a major exchange. That would be a monumental catalyst. Naturally, the Pi community exploded when the sponsorship news broke. Longtime pioneers, who have been mining for years, see this as the ultimate validation. For them, it's proof that their patience is paying off. Social media platforms were filled with excitement, with many calling this a "we told you so" moment. On the flip side, some people are still cautious. They point out that while a sponsorship is a strong sign, it doesn't replace the need for a fully functioning, open network. And they're right. Pi still has to deliver on the technical and operational side. Industry analysts have also started weighing in. Many are acknowledging that Pi can no longer be ignored. For years, it's been this mysterious giant with a massive user base but little public presence. By sponsoring Token 2025, they've essentially forced the wider crypto market to take a second look. Some analysts see this as a classic go-to-market strategy. After years of building quietly, you make a splash to announce your arrival. It's about generating buzz, establishing credibility, and attracting the right partners at the right time. Of course, it all comes down to what happens next. A flashy sponsorship is great, but it has to be backed up by substance. If Pi Network uses the spotlight well, it could be the beginning of something huge. If not, the skepticism will only grow. But one thing is certain, this move has changed the conversation. And the big question on everyone's mind remains, what will happen to the price of PiCoin once it finally hits exchanges? While no one can predict exact numbers, the logic is simple. More exposure leads to more demand. More demand meeting limited supply usually pushes prices up, especially in the early days of a new listing. So even though we can't put a dollar figure on it yet, the potential is massive. At the end of the day, Pi Network's gold sponsorship at Token 2025 is more than just a marketing play. It's a declaration. It's Pi stepping out of the shadows and into the spotlight, ready to be judged alongside the biggest names in the industry. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, you can't deny that this is a turning point. The next few months could determine whether Pi Network fulfills its promise of revolutionizing crypto accessibility, or whether it fades back into the noise. But for now, all eyes are on London, and all eyes are on Pi.